Ew, I just saw a kid with a broken arm. Gross. First responders must have a pretty tough job. Now thinking about it, that's what our show is all about. I'm Kaylee, and CVTV starts now.
This is CVTV.
Before the show begins, here are some announcements. Cougars, make sure you're in dress code. 6th graders were charcoal gray, 7th graders were red, and 8th graders were black. Also, remember, no rips in jeans and no Crocs. If you're wearing a hoodie, make sure it's a LHMS hoodie. If not, it can be a zip-up or button-up jacket. Cougars, remember to follow RAP. Respectful, responsible, active learner, and problem solver. Also, make sure you go and support CVTV on Instagram at official CVTV News. Also, if you're not already, go subscribe to CVTV on YouTube. Now before we head to Sakshi, the math fact of the day is the equation for slope-intersect form is y equals mx plus b. Now let's go to Sakshi to learn about what a first responder is and what they do.
We see first responders every day, but what really are they and what do they do? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. First off, let's talk about what a first responder is. A first responder is someone who's specially trained to go to a scene of emergency to provide help. First responders are also in charge of doing a lot of things on scene. One main duty they have is administering first aid and life support. But first responders still have way more work ahead of them. Their goal is to keep their patient alive till they get them to a medical facility. And to do this, they have to safely transport and communicate with the patient. Responders also have to search and rescue people from unsafe situations like a burning building. They're also trained to bandage wounds, perform CPR, and much more on scene. Wow, I never knew first responders had this much of a tough job. Well, I hope you Cougars learned some new things about first responders and how important they are. But don't forget, I'm Sakshi reporting for CVTV.
Thanks, Sakshi, for that information. Speaking of information, the science fact of the day is that the elements in the periodic table are listed by their atoms. So from top to bottom to left to right, the atoms are listed by their atomic number, which is the number of protons in each atom. Another fact is an ELA fact, which a thesis statement should be what your paper is mainly about, which can help you Cougars keep your paper to a manageable topic. Now let's go to you Cougars to see how many first responders you can name.
I think the first responders are policemen and firefighters and hospital workers.
One type of first responder, police officers.
And I think there are 4 types of first responders: firefighters, police, EMTs, and paramedics.
Police, EMS, and fire.
Types of first responders I know are police officers and firefighters.
The types of first responders are police officers and medical personnel and firefighters.
Those are some great answers, Cougars. Now let's go to Giselle to learn about the different types of responders and what they do.
Well, now we all know what a first responder is, but what do they do? Well, lucky for you, I'm here to tell you all about them. First up, we have a firefighter. A firefighter is a person who undertakes rescue missions or extinguishes fires. Basically like another first responder, a police officer. A police officer is a first responder who responds to emergencies within their community. So they take people to jail and they give them speeding tickets. The next person is an EMT. An EMT is a person who provides medical services to people in ambulances. And lastly, we have paramedics. Paramedics are people who respond to 911 calls for emergency medical assistance. So they take care of people who call 911 specifically that need medical attention.
Thanks, Giselle, for that great information. I've never heard of some of those responders. Now, before the show ends, the history fact of the day is that today, after World War II, in the beginning of 1954, the United States labeled November 11th as Veterans Day. Some other countries have this holiday, but they have renamed it as Remembrance Day. Well, it looks like our time is up, Cougars. I'm Kaylee, signing off of CVTV.